I have one of the most concerning stories that I've seen thus far into Donald Trump's presidency, and that's saying something given the insanity of everything that's going on. And I think this story has somewhat gone under the radar because there's just so much chaos. There's so many things to pay attention to, but it is incredibly concerning. It involves Elon Musk and Donald Trump, which is never a recipe for success. And here's the report from the New York Times. And this headline, in and of itself, is sickening. It makes me feel ill. Elon Musk's team at Doge now has full access to the Treasury's payment systems. Now, the payment systems at the Treasury are responsible for virtually all of the money that the United States disperses every single year. Trillions upon trillions of dollars for things like Social Security, Medicare, student loans, grants, payments for government contractors. All of this stuff goes through the Treasury's payment systems. And now, Elon Musk, an unelected bureaucrat who controls a social media company and is also the wealthiest man in the world who benefits from government contracts, has access to this system and all of its data. Incredibly concerning. Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary gave the officials and representative at Doge full access to the federal payment system late on Friday, last night. So they were hoping that you'd be asleep, you wouldn't be paying attention to this, but we caught it. The New York Times caught it. Everybody's seeing this. The new authority follows a standoff this week with a top Treasury official who had resisted allowing Mr. Musk's lieutenants into the department's payment systems. And this is another layer of this story that's so incredibly concerning, that a Treasury official quit this week after resisting Elon Musk's request to get access to this payment system. The Trump administration pushed out this top Treasury official after he refused to follow what Elon Musk wanted. This career civil servant, who oversaw more than 1 billion payments that the federal government makes every year, was placed on administrative leave this week after resisting requests from Elon Musk, according to people familiar with the circumstances. And then on Friday, this man who served briefly as acting Treasury Secretary until the confirmation of Donald Trump's guy told colleagues that he would retire more than 35 years of working for the government. His abrupt departure raises questions about whether Mr. Musk will now gain control of the payment systems, and if so, how he could use it. His exit also underscores the extraordinary amount of power that Mr. Musk, whose current employment status inside the federal government remains unclear, is accumulating at the opening of the second Trump administration. So this guy, a career civil servant at the Treasury Department, 35 years, saw Elon Musk's request, thought it was incredibly peculiar because it is a private individual like Elon Musk whose employment status, again, at the federal government is still unclear, having access to all of this data, all of our Social Security numbers, would be incredibly peculiar. So what did the Trump administration do? They put him on leave and he quit. They forced him out of the federal government. Anyway, back to the main story. That little side story just shows you how insane this is. But back to the main story. This system could give the Trump administration another mechanism to attempt to unilaterally restrict disbursement of money approved for specific purposes by Congress, a push that has faced legal roadblocks. That is, in other words, illegal. If Congress appropriates money for something, the president of the United States can't just block that funding just because they don't like it. That's what we call illegal. That's what we call unconstitutional. Musk has been given a wide latitude by Donald Trump to find ways to slash government spending, and he's recently fixated on the Treasury's payment process. It's not clear whether the team led by Mr. Musk, the world's wealthiest man, has blocked any payment since getting access to the system. It's not, just a reminder that Doge is actually not a government department, but a team within the administration. So it's not even its own government agency, which is insane. But the Treasury Secretary granted access to the payment systems to a handful of staff members affiliated with Doge. So typically, only a select few amount of people have access to this payment system because of how sensitive it is, because trillions of dollars every single year go through this system. But now, Elon Musk and his whole team have access to it, all the data that comes with it. And again, Elon Musk, a man who benefits directly from government contracts, has access to all the information about government contracts. That doesn't seem like a recipe for success to me. In a process that's typically run by civil servants, the Treasury Department carries out payments submitted by agencies across the government, dispersing more than $5 trillion a year. $5 trillion a year, and now Musk has access to all that information. Democrats raised alarm this week that the Trump administration and this Treasury Secretary were compromising the federal government's payment systems. One of the senators, Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon, wrote a letter to the Treasury Secretary saying, quote, "To put it bluntly, these payment systems simply cannot fail, and any politically motivated meddling in them risks severe damage to our country and the economy. I can think of no good reason why political operators who have demonstrated a blatant disregard for the law would need access to these sensitive, mission-critical systems." Mr. Wyden followed up on Saturday to express concern that the access to the systems had already been granted, which he was right. Social Security and Medicare benefits, grants, payments to government contractors, including those that compete directly with Musk's own companies. All of it. All of it. If you are on any of these programs, you've received any form of payment from the Treasury because of student loans or Social Security or Medicare, Musk now has that information. The wealthiest man in the world who is not elected and is not working for an actual government agency has access to all of that information. It is mind-boggling the amount of corruption that we are seeing in the Trump administration. There's no other word for it than corruption. That Musk now just has access to all of this information. Just like that. They forced out somebody who wouldn't do it because this has never happened before in American history. No president like Biden, Obama, Bush, Clinton, any president before them has asked for someone like Elon Musk or somebody that's outside of the federal government who doesn't even really have an employment status in the federal government to have access to this information. That person who said, well, that's really peculiar, they forced him out and have a lackey in there like Donald Trump's current Treasury Secretary that'll just do whatever they want. This administration is total chaos. It is hurting the American people every single day, and it continues to get worse. Now, I know that MAGA will probably defend this in some capacity. They'll find some way to say, you know what, I actually think it's a good idea that the richest man in the world who benefits from government contracts and is unelected and doesn't work at a government agency, I think it actually is a good idea that he should have access to all of our information and our social security numbers and everything pertaining to Medicare. I don't. I think any rational person would look at this like, what is going on? But it's Donald Trump. It's what his administration is doing. It's bonkers. That's what it is. So anyway, I just wanted to bring this story to your attention through all the chaos. It's hard to keep track of everything with every single day of the Trump administration seemingly being worse than the last. But still nonetheless important to keep informed on this stuff. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe down below. It really goes an incredibly long way. Also drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about all this. I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about this. But we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching, and try to at least have a good rest of your day.